Hey, this is Doug Padgett, and I'm in Minneapolis, and Debbie Blue and Russel Rathbun are in St. Paul. And even though the cities are right next to each other, we still want to do this over Skype. And they're going to be presenters at the Church Planters Academy, May 3rd through the 5th, 2012, and we'd love to have you there. They're part of a community called House of Mercy. And Russell and Debbie, how did you all get involved in House of Mercy? How did it get its start for the two of you?
Well, we originally started with another co-pastor, Mark Stenberg, who left to go start Mercy Seat, which is Emerging Church in North Minneapolis. But we had worked together, Mark and I. Well, we both were associate pastors at dying little urban churches in Seattle, and thought this is probably what our future was going to look like. So we thought it would be so great if we could start a church together. That way, when nobody came, at least you'd be with your buddy.
Yeah.
So we had talked about this for a long time, and we moved off, went to different graduate schools or whatever, and then we kind of both ended up back in the Twin Cities, which is where we're from, and we wanted to start this church, and Mark said, oh, you should meet Debbie Blue. She's great. She's like, theological soulmate. So we all met up, and we said, well, let's start a church, okay? And we're like, all right. And so our friends were all like musicians and artists, and whenever they had a show, back in the day, they'd send out a postcard to all their friends saying, I'm having an opening, or my band's playing.
Well, what year was that when people were sending postcards to announce their concerts?
It seemed like it was 1996.
1996.
Yeah. So the postcard thing, I kind of miss it.
Yeah.
So we sent postcards to all our friends and said, hey, we're starting a church, come this day. And we just found a place, and we opened the doors that day, and that's how we started it.
Russell wasn't selling water meters. I just had a baby. We didn't really have any startup funds,
it was like
we had no money. Actually, we didn't get paid for a year.
Right. I just was after I was fresh off my esteemed degree from Berkeley, and came out here and installed water meters.
Yeah, it's awesome. And so you started, you had a name and all of that, or did you start with a group of friends that were going to sort of form this?
We didn't. We started with the name. It was just really, we didn't have that kind of thing where you you have a core group or whatever, and then you meet, and then you have a launch date or nothing like that. We just we started church, cool.
It'd be fun.
We ordered Thai food, and then we started trying to think of a name.
Yeah.
And I had this play called House of Mercy, and Mark was like, "Hey, what about that play, House of Mercy? That's a good name." And we're like, "Yeah, that is a good name. That's what we're all about."
Yeah. Now, some people would say, "Boy, you were kind of naive when you got your start," but I don't think you feel like that was the case. I think you feel like there was something sort of right about what you were doing. Like you were, you knew that there was another way, but you wanted to do it in this kind of organic startup fashion.
Yeah, we just wanted to do what we loved. We wanted to do.
And we felt like we weren't, I mean, what is the pejorative way of describing it? Where it's a parachute church start, where go in there and study the demographics, and here's your target audience, and you do all that. And we're just we think the good news is good news, and our friends think it's bad news. Let's start a church to tell them it's really good news.
All right, on.
That was it.
Right, and so since then, Mark has moved on. The two of you have stayed, and you've renegotiated your relationship with the community and your role and so on in the in-house.
Not necessarily our roles. I mean, we just always had three pastors, a music minister, and now we just have two pastors and a music minister.
Yeah.
So, but it's always been a co-pastorate, Even if I've worked more hours than Debbie or when Mark was here, that was just what we could do in our lives at any time. But it wasn't about any kind of power differential at all.
Yeah, we always thought it was really important to have that non-hierarchical sort of leadership.
Yeah.
Well, and they're a part of a church called House of Mercy in St. Paul. And if people want to find it on the internet, do you have an internet website?
Yes, it's houseofmercy.org.
Houseofmercy.org.
Yep.
Perfect. And they're going to be part of the Church Planters Academy, which you can find, of course, at churchplantersacademy.com. startupfund.com, which will be at the bottom of your screen. May 3rd through the 5th, 2012. Join Debbie and Russell and others here in Minneapolis. And maybe we'll take a little field trip over to St. Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Hey,
Great.
thanks a lot. Thanks for being part of the event.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Yeah.